virtual edu networking community. We have an event this week that I think every human being on the planet needs to be at. And what it's about is a very interesting, fascinating, and intriguing concept of emotional intelligence. And this is something that we all can learn from to improve the relationships with our family, to improve the relationships with our business alliances, and to improve the relationship with ourselves. We have an incredible speaker, an expert speaker. Her name's Carolyn Stern. She's just down below us here. And she's just written a book called The Emotionally Strong Leader. So our event is this Thursday from 11 a.m. Pacific until 1 p.m. Pacific. And we are here at the Grand Connection to support businesses around the world. Currently, we have 35 countries of businesses that attend our events, and we want you to be here. I want to introduce you to Carolyn Stern and just let you know that everybody can attend as a guest. This is a free event for you. You can attend 2 events at the Grand Connection. So we want you to attend this event. So Carolyn Stern is the president and CEO of EI Experience. And it is an executive leadership development and emotional intelligence training firm. She's a certified emotional intelligence and leadership and development expert, professional speaker, award-winning author, and a university professor. Her book has been awarded a bronze medal from the Axiom Book Awards for the best business book in 2023 in the leadership category, and a bronze medal from the 2022 Forward Indies and Book of the Year awards in the career category. Oh my gosh, this book is so good. Susan loves this book, just saying. And her courses and modules really have been adopted by top universities in North America. Carolyn, we are so excited about you coming to speak for us on Thursday. And people, you can ask Carolyn questions directly, and we're going to have experiential aspects for you too. So Carolyn, thank you, Susan and I, from the bottom of our heart for really supporting us at the Grand Connection and being our expert speaker this Thursday. Tell us what you're going to focus on during your keynote presentation with us.
Well, first of all, thank you ladies for having me here today, but also on Thursday. I'm really excited to be here. I started as a solopreneur myself, right? I ran my business for many, many years on my own. And it wasn't until I started to realize what I was struggling with as a leader and hiring people who had what I didn't. That's how I was able to scale my business from a solopreneur to a legitimate small business. And now we are, 5 of us strong. I have 5 full-time staff. I have a slew of coaches that work for me. I have, contractors that work with me. And it's wonderful because the impact that we all want to make as solopreneurs, we have such a passion for what we're doing. But in order to make it truly a business beyond just what we're passionate about, we really do need to figure out how is our emotional makeup helping or hurting us. And the moment I realized how me being lacking independence was really affecting me as a leader, I started hiring people who had independence. Because I'm overly flexible, I started hiring people that were a little bit more stringent and more tough and could teach me those skills. So just because you're the boss of your own business doesn't mean you can't learn things from people. And my staff, even though they're half my age, I learned so much from my staff. So why I wanted to do this event, other than just supporting other wonderful women like yourself and other great business people out there, is because I know a lot of people, since the book's come out and it's gotten quite a lot of attention and it's gotten quite a bit of a media buzz, and it did win 2 awards, which I'm really proud of. I wrote a really timely book because emotions erupted when COVID hit, and organizations realized that none of us, including me, were equipped on how do you deal with people's emotions or yours. As someone who's really empathetic, I coddled my team when they were really emotional with COVID. And that's the worst thing you should do as a leader, is to coddle your people. You got to teach them, right? As leaders, we're teachers, and we have to teach them. You don't give them the answers. We say to, Susan, if you're struggling, the last thing I should do is like, oh, let me solve your problem for you. What I should say to you is, hey, Susan, what do you think? You're a capable and confident and competent woman. What do you think you need to do to solve your problem? And I think as leaders, I'd say one of the biggest mistakes that we make is we feel like we need to give the answers because it's quick and dirty and it'll be done and then I can move on to the next task. And that's the last thing you can do because you're creating a culture of dependence. They will always come back to you and ask you questions if you're constantly solving their problems. So for those of you that are parents who are struggling with their children, that they are not resourceful enough, or that they're needing you too much, the last thing you should do, the first thing you should do is sign up for this program on August 17th and come to the Grand Connection event that we're hosting. But the last thing you should do is give your children the answers. And same for those of you that have virtual assistants. So really what I'm going to be talking about is, one, let's figure out why we're so afraid of our emotions in the first place. They're just emotions. They come and go, ladies. They're like clouds, right? They're fleeting. They're not always factual. They're incredibly painful and they're really personal, but they aren't always factual. So you need to step outside of yourself and go, okay, what am I feeling and what is that feeling telling me about me? Right? If I'm angry, what is that feeling telling me? Well, maybe I'm angry about an injustice or an unfairness. If I'm frustrated, maybe it's because you didn't meet my expectations. But what is it that I'm feeling, and what is that feeling telling me, and what can I do about it? The problem is, in work, we just react. We don't take a pause. So it's really pressing the pause button, being an observer of yourself and going, what am I feeling? What is that feeling telling me about me? And what can I do about it? And so really what we're going to do in the workshop is figure out, why are we so afraid of ignoring emotions, right, in the workplace? And why is that such a bad thing? We're going to talk about why emotions matter, that it affects our creativity. It affects our decision-making. It affects our relationships. Think of the last time, Susan, think of someone that you're angry with right now. How much is that anger clouding your objectivity of that person, right? You're probably not thinking clearly and seeing the person. You're not seeing any of the good in that person. You're only seeing the bad in that person because that anger is clouding your objectivity. So I'm going to teach you in this session the mental skills and emotional intelligence strategies on how to be stronger than your emotions, because my emotions ran amok, I'd say, over 20 years of my life. And it wasn't because I didn't learn it at home. I certainly didn't learn it at school. As a university professor, I give students stress. I don't teach them how to manage it. I put them in teams. I don't teach them how to work within those teams. And so it's really teaching people, how do you be bigger and stronger than your emotions? But then what is your emotional makeup? And that's what I'm most excited about. Since I've launched the book, ladies, everyone wants to come see me at a book signing event and then they can't. Well, this is an opportunity that you can come meet me, answer any questions that you may have. I can answer them right there on the spot in the session. We're going to meet other like-minded people, and you can have brainstorming sessions and work together. Because one thing I know about emotional intelligence, it is not a skill that you need to do by yourself. You need to find a buddy. That Susan, you can keep me accountable. That if I'm needy and my goal for this week is to stop asking reassuring questions, you can keep me accountable if I let you know that that's what I'm working on. If I quietly go about my business and not tell you, then I can get away with it again. And so it's really keeping yourself accountable, and you can change old habits. It just takes a long time and practice and commitment. And that's the stuff we have to do. Because as I said to you before this call, there is not one problem that we cannot solve, personal or interpersonal, without having strong emotional intelligence skills. And if we all become stronger at dealing with our emotions, we can be happier. And that ultimately is the purpose in life.
Well, I think it can change the world. That's what we talked about before this, Carolyn, honestly. And people, we need to look deeply in the mirror at the truth and look at ourselves in this perspective. Your book is absolutely incredible. For those of you out there that have read it, you know that. And also, there's an incredible offer that we're going to have at the event as well, which means that you have to register. And honestly, I'm listening to you speak as a parent too, and as a sister and as an aunt, and the roles and relationships that we function in our lives. I mean, this event is for all of you. So we welcome you to come. I'm going to say the time again. It's 11 a.m. Pacific time until 1. I'm going to pass it over to Susan. Susan adores your book, absolutely has sticky notes everywhere and has learned so much. Carolyn, thank you for writing it. So I'll let her speak about it as well.
Oh, this is going to be a great event. And anyone listening, invite a friend. You can all come. You're allowed to come to 2 events as a guest. We invite everyone to come and experience the Grand Connection. It's a wonderful community of grand givers. We focus on collaboration. We connect, create, collaborate, and we find opportunities to work together so that we can all have a better impact on the people that we serve. So this is for everybody. Emotional intelligence, we've got a lot of coaches, authors, podcasters in our group, speakers, but this is for everybody. So invite your friends, invite your aunt, invite your cousin who, needs to work on some EQ happening in their lives. And what I love about your book is it's a workbook. So I'm on holidays right now, and this is like the perfect thing to sit in a lawn chair, read through, answer one of your questions, ponder, think about it, make notes, journal. We all love to do this, because when do you get time to actually work on yourself? And I love the subtitle. It's an inside out journey to transformational leadership. And that's what it is. If you want to be a good leader, you need to work on yourself. Yeah. And you need to take the time to come to our event on Thursday. Take the time to invite some of your friends who this is going to be helpful for them, and meet some great people and make some great connections. We have a couple of breakout rooms with friendly people where we get to ask questions. Carolyn Stern may be in your room. So you're going to get to meet her, because we're going to, it's random. You get her in your room. I know she's planning to pop from room to room around a little bit to give a few more folks who want to see her. And you're going to get to, ask her questions as well. So, there's a reaction button. Just get your hand up really early and ask the questions you want, because some of you probably have already read the book and have some questions. And if not, Carolyn, can you tell us about your wonderful offers for our guests on Thursday?
Yes. So on Thursday, we're going to be offering, not only for those of you that haven't read the book, we're going to be offering a free chapter. So you can download a free chapter to see if you like what I've written in the first chapter, as well as a free guide. That's not even a part of the book. We've developed a whole guide that's separate, has nothing to do, that unless you buy this free chapter and guide, everyone will get access to that. The other thing we're offering is, if anyone wants a signed copy. So many people have wanted to come out to my book signings, and then they can't. So if you want a signed copy from me that with a personal note inside, they get 50% off a signed copy plus shipping and handling. And then the last thing that we're offering is we're giving all our VP your VP members, along with the signed copy, we're also giving them a free online course that they have access to. It's worth $110 US. There's 10 videos. There's a workbook in addition to this. So they get a lot of value. The one thing that I'll say is, when you buy the book, at the very back of the book, there is a QR code. And at the back of the book, you can download 7 other videos of me, plus an entire workbook. So as Susan said, there's a workbook inside this book, but there's an additional other workbook, because let's be honest, ladies, unless you did this with your friends or on your own self-development, none of us are working on this. We're all in this little hamster wheel trying to get what we need to get done in a day. And why I took the time to build questions like this. Here's one thing I know about teaching. People just want to talk about this, because we're not talking about it anywhere else. right? When can you come into organizations and literally just talk about your feelings? You can't. So this is a space and a time that you lovely women are giving people an opportunity to come join together, talk about our emotional issues. Do you struggle with impulse control? Are you an impulsive person? Do you take too long to make a decision? Are you assertive enough, or do you let people walk all over you? What's your confidence like? Are you someone who's really not you can tell people what you think, but you can't tell people what you feel? Are you someone who can put yourself in somebody else's shoes? Do you have a positive outlook on life, or are you a negative Nelly? Like, it's really about figuring out where your emotional makeup, where you're strong, where you're not so strong, where you're in the middle, and where, what I call in the book, where are you on the dark side? When it becomes a strength becomes a liability. When you're too much of something, it becomes a liability. And so it's really about figuring out what that sweet spot is for you, and then knowing what you do struggle with, then finding people who can support you on areas that you do struggle with, and that can give you the needed attention or give you the attention that you need in that area. The other thing is, this book has 60 strategies. 60 strategies that if you struggle with any one of those 15 emotional intelligent competencies, I give you 4 strategies for every single one of them that you walk away with, so that you can learn how to have more confidence, so that you can learn how to be more independent, that you can learn how to build better relationships, so that you can learn how to solve problems and not let your emotions cloud your objectivity, so you can learn how to handle stress. All of that is in this book. And in the top...
Okay. This is your life's work, Carolyn Stern. There's 2 Carolyns on the call, so I have to use last names here, folks. This is, I know you've been on here, you've been working hard in the last few years, because you spoke at our event 2 years ago. It was a fabulous talk. Everybody loved it. And this is an opportunity now that you've got something that's even more clear and usable for people to take away and really have transformational results. And I know this is your life passion, and your soul has gone into this book, and we're so grateful that you're going to be here to share this with our group. Thank you so much.
Oh, yes. Thank you. And you know what? I think you're right, Susan. When I was there 2 years ago, the closest thing that people could purchase from me was an online course that was, potentially over $100. Now, you can get this book for $36 Canadian or $28 US. And for VIP members, you get this half price, and I'll sign you a copy. So it's definitely worth, that's a few cups of coffee. I think you're worth a few cups of coffee. And your emotional well-being.
And Carolyn uses really nice glitter markers. Just saying, the signed copy will be lovely. You're going to get some personal inspirational quote inside.
Yeah, because how you feel affects how you perform.
Here.
Remember that. How you feel affects how you perform. And how are you feeling? Yeah.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Yeah. And this book is the truth, people. So honestly, if you have a dream and a vision of improving your relationships with other people and yourself, you want to be here on Thursday to hear Carolyn live, because to watch the recording is not the same. Plus, you'll have an opportunity to receive her incredible, generous gifts and be able to meet other folks that are very like-minded. So we welcome you to the Grand Connection. We are also on a mission to really support change in the world for small business globally. And Carolyn, I just respect your calling and your mission to support leaders to be all that they can be and rise up to be, these incredible leaders to make a difference in the world. So thank you. And we will see you on Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time until 1. Thank you, Carolyn, for coming.